yesterday. England, Harry Maguire. Maybe I should say Harry Maguire. What's up with that man? What has it been going for him with this performance of late? To talk about that this morning, of course, we'll have stories from the Nigerian scene, something from athletics, where Issa Brume has been speaking up against the AFN. She feels that they are not getting enough support. To talk about that this morning on Sports Bank. Welcome to the show. This is the voice of Blessing Fowowe. My friends are here, Feromi Adeboyega and Faith Adedeji. Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning to you, Blessing. Good morning, Feromi, and of course to our revered listeners as well. Always a pleasure to have our listeners join us again on another wonderful Thursday morning where we get to talk extensively about the world of sports. And I know we have a very, very loaded edition. So many things to talk about. We have the Nations League. Maguire is in the news as well. So I'm buzzing as well, and I'm very, very excited to be on the show this morning.
Of course, good morning to you, Blessing. Good morning to Faith, and to a wonderful listener out there. Always good to be back to talk sport again. Well, I'm so just excited because our international duties is actually over, and of course, we can be looking forward to some exciting games during this weekend in the world of football. Talking about the top 5 leagues right there, and of course, I think talking about AFN and all that, Issa Brume was saying they're not getting enough support. I think a house that is not organized does not expect any support, and I think that's one of the reasons why they will find it difficult for anybody at this point in time to want to associate with them. But then let's just wait and see how it goes.
Okay, I want to start from this angle this morning. It's been all about the interview granted by former Arsenal coach Arsene Wenger, who is now the head of football development there at FIFA. He's been saying a lot of things, and I picked out one part of the interview. It was asked about Mesut Ozil, who is signed then for a then record fee of £42.4 million, and he was asked what he makes of his career currently, and this is what he had to say. I feel it's a waste for him because firstly because he's in the years where a player of his talent can produce the most, and it's a waste for the club as well because he's a super talent, a creative talent that in the final third can create that killer pass. It says the way football is going at the moment, it is quick counter pressing, quick transitions, and everybody plays the same. It's kicked out players like Ozil. Although let's not forget who this guy is, a world champion who has played at Real Madrid. It's been the record player of assists, so you have to find a way to get him involved again. We spoke about the evolution of football a couple of months ago. I think earlier this year we spoke specifically about the midfielders, the number 10s, and it looks like Wenger just confirmed one of the reasons why Ozil hasn't been getting playing times. I mean, football has evolved, but he hasn't.
Yeah, definitely. I think the trequartista role, that is the attacking midfielder, or the traditional number 10 role, the player that plays in the hole behind the striker. I know it's looking like something that football has evolved beyond right now. We're not looking at players like that. That is why maybe we have a resurgent James Rodriguez now, but that is also an example of someone that has struggled in times past due to the fact that football, maybe coaches, they are looking for pacey players now. You being able to beat your opponent more, you having this, aggression and this physicality, unlike the usual number 10 that plays with gal, that plays with, flair and all that. That is not something that coaches look out for right now. Because of the intensity of the game, the way the game is being played right now is, the demands of the game is a little bit shifting away from what we've had in the past, and that is why players like Mesut Ozil will continue to struggle. And especially when they are not in their younger years again, when they can still put in the energy. Now it's more about the experience, more about the intelligence, the game intelligence. That is what it is more about for them right now. But coaches don't want that because the demands of the game are very different. But I think it's also beyond our footballing abilities or footballing performances. That is why Ozil is being, left out of the squad. There are other maybe business reasons and other things for the club. Why? Because of some some advocacies that Ozil has been getting himself involved in, and some
political
fights,
advocacy.
some of those, and the club, doesn't want it to affect their brand, so they're trying to, there's a way they're trying to distance themselves away from Ozil at this point in time. So it's all about the brand for them. It's all about the money. It's all about the franchise.
It's also about the football.
But one thing they're actually not considering at this point in time is, this kind of thing might, if they're not careful, lead to a lot of distraction situation in the dressing room because whether we like it or not, Ozil is a big player in his own right, and he has quite some little say right there in that dressing room, and it actually means a lot right there. So I think they have not been able to handle the situation very well. Like you rightly said, he has been getting himself involved in some issues that he feels that the club should actually back him at this point in time. But that is not the case at this point now. But then moving forward, I think they should have actually gone past that. You can't be paying this man over 300,000 pounds a week and you froze him out of the Europa League. At least just make him play, whether we like it or not. We might want to say football is involved and all that, but then you can't still take away the importance of Ozil, that he might actually bring one or two quality in that particular. He might not necessarily get to start, but at least make him play from the bench and all that. But now it looks like they're getting themselves in PR games now, and it looks like the winner gets it all. The winner.
While I agree with you, the club will also look at the results. They've won the FA Cup. They've won the Community Shield, even without having Ozil as a mainstay in that team. So maybe they will say it has not necessarily been affecting the results and all that. But when you have a player like Mesut Ozil, world-class player, someone that has won almost everything available, won the World Cup, won almost everything available in your ranks, you need him to be, up and firing. But wait to see how that goes. But I think, just like Feromi said, it's not good for both parties, for the club side and the player. He's 32 now, and he doesn't have so many years ahead of him in football.
Well, it's. I think you took it away from the footballing reasons, because I wanted us to focus on the football reasons and not on whatever he has going on with us now. But
continuously.
But it's all about the footballing reason. I think
because
that's
if you say we don't need a number 10, Super Eagles does.
Oh, switch nationality.
We have Alex.
But hey, yes, indeed, we have Alex Iwobi. But hey, that's the situation of things from Arsene Wenger on this man Mesut Ozil. Well, he said a lot of things in that interview. Maybe we'll be picking out some things one after the other to discuss. But a quick break from football now. I'll tell you about something else in that's racing now, where Cavendish says he has no desire to stop racing 3 days after appearing to suggest he was set to retire. The man's man, who is 35, has struggled for form in recent seasons when he has been affected by the Epstein-Barr virus. But he says rumors on Wednesday's one-day Shepherd's race would be cancelled contributed to his tearful interview at the end of Sunday's Gent Wevelgem race. And he says, "I don't want to stop. I love the sport." There were rumors at the start of the race that the rest of the races would be cancelled. But the government in Belgium had, in a meeting on Monday about restrictions over coronavirus, it suddenly dawned on me that I don't have next year sorted yet, and that it could be the last race of the season and potentially my career. But he says he wants to keep racing. When you talk about racing, Cavendish is one of those names that readily comes to mind. Away from that, to athletics here in Nigeria, where long jump sensation Eze Brume has accused the Athletics Federation of Nigeria, that's the AFN, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development of not helping the country's athletes in their quest to win laurels for Nigeria, and called for improved support, enable athletes prepare well ahead of next year's Olympic Games in Tokyo. The three-time African champion Brume is one of Nigeria's medal hopes at the rescheduled Olympics and solidified her prospects for a podium place when she won Nigeria's only medal at the World Athletics Championship in Doha, Qatar last year, claiming bronze in the women's long jump event with a mark of 6.91 meter. It is the first time Nigeria's won a medal at the competition since 2013, and her feat in Doha, according to Brume, can be replicated in international competitions by many more Nigerian athletes if only the crisis-ridden Athletics Federation of Nigeria and Sports Ministry begins to reverse years of non-support and start placing athletes' welfare and development first. Listen to Eze Brume, what she had to say about calling the AFN and the Ministry of Youth and Sports to get responsible in helping the athletes to give their best.
I would like to say to the ministry and also to the federation that they should try to support us, because really they are not helping. But God has made it possible for me, and I believe that by the grace of God, He will make it possible for the others as well. But I want them to improve on their support for us, because they are not helping us at all.
You know that saying that says, when two elephants fight, it is the grass that gets to suffer. And that perhaps is the case of the athletes here. with the continuous fights between the AFN, or one faction of the AFN, I should say, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. Well, meanwhile, Nigerian track legend Gloria Alozie has opened up about the reason she dumped her birth country to compete for Spain, complaining that her decision was born out of pragmatism rather than frustration with Nigeria's notoriously woeful athletics ecosystem. Alozie won silver for Nigeria at the Sydney Olympics in the 100-meter hurdles before eventually switching nationality to Spain, for whom she won the gold medal at the 2002 European Championship. Now, Alozie switched to representing Spain after obtaining Spanish citizenship in 2001 was viewed by many Nigerians as yet more evidence of the decay of Nigeria's athletics, where a notorious lack of basic welfare routinely forces athletes to switch nationalities in order to truly maximize their career. It's a trend that has continued even nearly 2 decades after Alozie's switch to Spain, as many other Nigerian-born athletes continue to turn their backs on Nigeria for much better welfare and training packages on offer elsewhere. Well, that was the case for Alozie in 2001, but then she points out that there were some other reasons that contributed to her deciding to fly Spain's flag at international competition. Here is Gloria Alozie.
Before changing my nationality, I was already living in Spain, and I was there living. I had my club there, my coach, and there were some certain things I wasn't really enjoying as a Nigerian. So, for example, with my club, there are, number of athletes, maybe the foreign athletes. For example, I'm just giving you an instance that can run for the club. So there were many things. So for me to really fit in, as since my job, my career, my future were there. So I really needed to get that nationality because it really helped me a lot in my career. So, for example, in some competitions, maybe we had many foreign athletes. So, being a Spanish, I had all the opportunity to compete anywhere. Or maybe you could be asked, maybe as a foreigner, to compete in the finals, where you should really compete, or maybe they don't give you a medal while you are the best. So there were many things that made me to change because, as a Nigerian, there was something really missing. So I had to obtain the nationality for my career to really flow very well.
Gentlemen, the voice of Gloria Alozie. Feromi, how do you react to this? I mean, she's giving reasons why she's changed her nationality, and years after, we still have Nigerians who are doing that. I think the latest one was Al Nassr. Is it Sawad or something?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember her name.
To Bahrain or something.
To Bahrain,
yes,
exactly. To Bahrain.
Yeah, definitely. I think at this point in time, we can't actually fault these ladies, these athletes, if they actually decide to actually take this kind of decision. I could remember that particular lady you are talking about now. She had a trial right here in Nigeria, and she was not given a chance, probably because she didn't have the connections to be able to get into the team. And of course, she had the chance to actually travel abroad, and we saw what she did in that particular competition. So I think at this point in time, we as a sport organization, as a sports industry, we need to be able to actually give these guys the opportunity to show what they can do, support them, because if we don't, this kind of things will continue on a consistent basis, because everybody's looking for greener pastures. Everyone is looking for that place, that opportunity that they can actually showcase their talents. And the moment they get out and their country, their birth country is not giving them that, trust me, they will japa, and that's the way it is. So I'm not actually blaming her for actually, making that decision at that point in time.
Well, a house divided upon itself cannot stand, and that is what we'll continue to have with some of these are athletes having to go. I remember Francis Obikwelu as well.
Who is now Ronaldo's fitness trainer? Personal fitness trainer.
I remember him at the 2004 Olympics. He won the silver medal at the 100 meters. It shows how good he was, but unfortunately, he didn't represent Nigeria. We also remember Daniel Igali, the current president of the Nigerian Wrestling Federation, who also had to switch to Canada to maybe get the best out of all the potentials there. So maybe just just like
even
you said.
if not that, the kind of passion Daniel Igali had for the Nigerian sports, he would not have come back because he had opportunities that he could have actually stayed at that point.
It is the same passion that Gloria Lozier has, and she has now returned to Nigeria to work as a coach in one of the foremost track clubs there in Lagos State. Away from athletics, the Ministry of Youth and Sports Development has rekindled hope for the resumption of all contact sports in Nigeria, including football, insisting that all COVID-19 protocols must be complied with. The federal government, as you know, suspended all sporting activities since March due to the outbreak of COVID-19. But the Ministry of Sport is, however, insisting on full compliance with all COVID-19 protocols before the organization of any sports events once the ban on sports activities is lifted by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Now, according to a statement from the Ministry of Sports, plans have been concluded for the return of all sporting events, including football, subject to the approval of the PTF. The minister, I recall he posted something on Twitter. He said, "We are hopeful that the reopening of sports will be shortly upon us. The ministry has done all that's necessary and required, especially with regard to the COVID-19 protocols. The PTF, Health Ministry, and the NCDC have guided appropriately. A bit of patience, sport lovers." That's what the minister is asking. Patience.
Patience. When we've been having political rallies, we're having protests.
When we have lots of competitions next month, and the 17 is having a qualifier in the next 2 weeks. The CAF Confederations Cup and Champions League are supposed to be in action next month, but we are talking patience at this point.
It just shows how the level at which we hold sports. Sports is not a very big thing over here. We don't see it as a big deal. So whenever we feel convenient enough, we'll bring it back. But then it is definitely affecting our athletes, our footballers. Especially those in those contact sports. It's affecting them, and we'll continue to complain when these people begin to switch nationality and they begin to pledge allegiance to other countries. We'll come here. We'll say Bukayo Saka chose England over us. We'll say Tammy Abraham chose England over us. Why wouldn't they have to do that? They'll be forced to do that. And when they realize the situation over there, in that country they're to be representing, it's not exactly the best, and it wouldn't get the best out of their potential. So we need to look at all these things, and because we are having protests, we are having our political rallies here and there. I saw the Ondo rally, I saw the Edo rally, I saw how packed,
attended by
thousands of
dignitaries in government as well.
Exactly, without any form of social distancing. How do you want to effect social distancing at a political rally? But yet you say people should not come for contact sports. That is a hypocrisy at the highest level for me. That is also just doing things haphazardly. But when you do things haphazardly, you get haphazard results. So whenever we get haphazard results, then you can't just come out calling for the head of maybe Genoro or whoever is in charge of all these things, and you say, because these things, there should be a bottom to top approach to all these problems. You would find the root cause of all these problems that we have in our sport, down to some of these things. And if we don't begin to correct them, I will just continue to toe the same line of mediocrity.
Well, just so you know, the athletes themselves, I think some MPFL footballers have been forced to take to Twitter to start trending hashtag "Bring back our football, bring back our sport," and it was that hashtag that got the minister to release that statement asking for patience from sports lovers. Okay, let's move away from Nigeria. UEFA Nations League. Well, the Netherlands finally scored under new manager Frank de Boer as they held Italy to a 1-1 draw at the Nations League in Bergamo. Ended 1-1 there. And Donny van de Beek of Manchester United slammed in a loose ball to end the drought of 323 minutes under the former Crystal Palace boss. And Poland defeated Bosnia and Herzegovina 3-0. And some other results. Harry Maguire's miserable start to the season continued with a red card as England had 2 men sent off for the first time in the Nations League defeat by Denmark. They lost 1-0, and Belgium defeated Iceland by 2-0. And guess who scored twice? Romelu Lukaku is his name. Portugal and France. Portugal defeated Sweden 3-0 and France defeated Croatia 2-1. Portugal without Cristiano Ronaldo. They got a victory in their game. There is more on that on the BBC Premier League update, and also more on the Project Big Picture, where the Premier League clubs have unanimously agreed that Project Big Picture will not be endorsed or pursued.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Hello, I'm Paul Serres at the BBC Sports Centre. Denmark beat England 1-0 in the UEFA Nations League at Wembley. The BBC's football correspondent John Murray reports.
This was England's first defeat at Wembley for over 2 years, and the match swung decisively Denmark's way either side of the half hour. First, Harry Maguire was sent off for a second bookable challenge, and within 3 minutes England conceded a rather soft penalty. Christian Eriksen marked his 100th appearance for Denmark by scoring from it. England's 10 men twice came close to drawing level. Schmeichel saved well from Mount, Cody's header hit defender Kjær, and there was a second sending off of the night for England after the final whistle, when, on his full debut, Reece James was shown a red card for dissent.
Elsewhere in the Nations League, 2 goals from Liverpool's summer signing Diogo Jota and the other from Manchester City's Bernardo Silva saw Portugal beat Sweden 3-0 in Lisbon. Manchester United's Donny van der Beek scored for the Dutch as they drew 1-1 with Italy, while Newcastle United's Ryan Fraser got the only goal of the game as Scotland beat the Czech Republic 1-0 at Hampden. Premier League clubs have unanimously agreed that Project Big Picture will not be endorsed or pursued. The plans proposed by Liverpool and Manchester United involved reducing the Premier League from 20 to 18 clubs and scrapping the EFL Cup and Community Shield. In addition, the English Football League would have received 25% of all future TV deals, plus a $325 million bailout. BBC Sport's Simon Stone says we can expect these proposals to be reshaped and revisited.
The architects of this will argue that some of the statements that are coming out of the Premier League tonight in terms of a separate rescue package for the football family, as they put it, going forward, and a review of the English football model have only come out because Project Big Picture has been floated over the last 3 or 4 days and created such a stir. So they don't see it as being dead at all. They see it as being the start of a dialogue.
And for more football news from the BBC, go to bbc.com/football.
BBC Premier League update from the home of Premier League football.
Okay, we're reaching home stretch on Sports Bang on Splash 105.5 FM, the integrity station. Gentlemen, quickly, your reactions to the UEFA Nations League game. England, Harry Maguire, the miserable start of the season continues. How do you react to that?
Well, maybe...
No, I've almost didn't turn that to fade. I did that for a reason.
I'm not Maguire's brother now.
You are a spokesperson inside this. But then I think, it's having it very difficult at this point in time. And I think, it needs to get his acts right. It needs to get his head straight. He's been having some lot of problems. Even before this particular game, remember what happened, during the COVID-19 issue, being an ex-COVID and all that. And, he has not been bringing his A game for Manchester United as well. So I think, a lot of things... Is he not?
He's not. He has not been...
Okay.
He has not been sentenced.
Okay, no problem with that. But then I think he has to be able to actually get himself psychologically. I think he's having a lot of problems, and that is what is actually affecting his game at this point in time. But then I think if he can actually get himself right, we know what he can actually do on the field of play. But for me, I think the team, the country that actually impressed me is definitely Scotland. Those guys have been doing something underneath, and they've been getting all the needed results for themselves. And I think if they can continue on this path, maybe we might just be seeing something very fantastic from them in the next couple of years.
Okay, Faith Project Big Picture, Premier League clubs. Leave Maguire for now. Let's talk about that for a moment. I mean, they're saying they won't pursue that. They have not endorsed. Although we'll be talking about this in depth on Saturday, but I mean, is this good news?
Yeah, expectedly. When you just take all those kind of decisions, and when you say suspicious decisions, you don't just come out with that kind of decision without, calling all the stakeholders, the necessary people involved in these things too. You don't just come with that decision and then you publicize it before you now call the stakeholders to the table, especially when it is a little bit contentious. You have, so many things that they should get 25% of the TV deals. You take it off immediately. We understand that the EFL clubs actually need support right now. They cannot do without fans in the stadium. They need those, the revenue that comes from the gate. They need the ticket fees. They need it a lot for running of their clubs. Unlike the bigger sides in the league, they have other endorsements. They can sell their merchandise and all that. They have so many other ways to make money. Unlike the clubs in the EFL, we understand that. But then it should come out. Let us have a meeting. How will the big clubs or the clubs in the Premier League, how will they come out to support you? And then you also look at something around having the big six having more authority, and that will take away the idea of democracy. Everyone should have one vote. We understand that you're the big boys, but then when we come to the table, everyone should have equal votes. You shouldn't be the deciders. You shouldn't have the sovereignty over others.
But if you're making the money, if you have the power, why shouldn't you be one of those with the major votes?
This is football. Football is one of those sectors we used to drive equality and all these things. So it would be lopsided if we begin to give some people power over others, especially in the world of football. We've been fighting against Black Lives Matter. We've been several social injustices, and football is one of those. Sports generally. Let me not limit it to football. Generally, has been one of those driving factors for all these form of equalities here and there. So we should also be looking at that. We shouldn't have the big sides have power over the smaller sides. Then it will take one or two things away. There's something people always say unofficially about the Bundesliga, that whenever Bayern Munich sees a big star in any of the small sides, they just go there, Schalke, for give me your best player. Hoffenheim, where is your best player over there? Dortmund, where is your best player over there? And maybe that is what is taking the competition away from their league. So when everyone has equal rights at the table, equal mouth to talk about at the table, then I will get better results. But then maybe we hear more from the Premier League sides, and they would look for a way to support the EFL club.
Indeed, and we shall talk about that much more better on Saturday. And Serie A, Napoli have been under the 3-0 defeat and had 1 point deducted for failing to play their Serie A match away to Juventus earlier this month. That's according to Serie A's disciplinary committee. This is a contentious decision for me, because the health authorities say Napoli can't travel. Serie A says you have to travel. So who do you obey?
I think they are both at fault right here. Talking about Napoli and the
Napoli
local
are the
health
ones who pay for it.
Napoli are the ones who pay for it, but they also know that there's a rule on ground that says if you have 13 players fit and a goalkeeper, you can't still play the game.
But
and they also know that
saying don't travel.
That is why I say they are actually at fault, because they also know that if they boycott that game, they would definitely be punished. So I feel they should have actually notified the local health authority that this is what is on ground. These are the rules. Okay, help us in telling Syria that okay, we can't actually honor this game. But that didn't happen. There was no notification going to Syria. They just told Napoli, not the Serie A organizers, and I think that is why they are actually punished. So I think I'm okay with that.
Okay with that. Okay, we're talking about Mesut Ozil earlier on the show. Well, today is his birthday. He clocks 32 today, and it looks like Arsenal fans are asking Arteta, where is Mesut Ozil? I'm leaving you with the front page of Sporting Live this morning. World Cup qualifier and Messi Bolivia coach close to punches. Alan Coleman, Gomez fit for trophies. Neymar passes Ronaldo. We talked about that on Just Football yesterday. And Couture is set to be fit for Cadiz clash. That's our show for you this morning. Thanks for being a part of Sports Band. To join us tomorrow at 7:30. Of course, it is Winning Friday edition of the show. I've worked with Fermi Adeboyega. Thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having
me. And Faith Adedeji.
Yes,
thanks for being here. We've worked with Josh as well. Thanks for being with us on the show this morning. My name is Blessing Fowowe. Au revoir.
Here is
105.5.
Access
105.6.
one station, all the hits.
105.5. Splash.
It's time to say the beat maker.
Bang, 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 bang.